Hey guys, how's it going? Previously on the channel, we were working on this 1971 John Deere 140. This is the 140 that we worked on. I think I made an update video on it. I may or may not have made an update video on it. You guys are probably looking at it right now, wondering what the hell happened. You missed something. Well, calm down. We're gonna address it. Previously on the channel, we got it running. We got it driving. We drove it up and down the driveway a little bit. Not really much. I've been using it off camera some to see if I could get it to work again, but unfortunately we have a severe problem. So remember how the engine had a spring going from the butterfly on the carb to the upright on the dash tower on here, right there where the hydro lever or the hydraulic lift lever is? I figured out why. It's definitely an unfortunate sight. The governor in the engine is no good. They were using the spring as a governor, I guess, to keep the RPM kind of governed. And when they needed to, they would give it more throttle. So, with that being said, the engine has no governor in it, as far as I can tell. I pulled the governor shaft out the best I could to look at it and to see what exactly is in there, and I could not. It didn't look like there was anything in there. It's hard to say. I'm wondering if somebody pulled the governor out of it at some point in time. I've also had a suspicion that somebody has had this tractor apart, although it really doesn't seem like somebody's had it apart, because mostly everything I have found, sometimes you find mismatched bolts. All the bolts seem to match unless someone just stuck all the correct bolts back in it, which maybe. There was some other things I had found on it that kind of made me suspect that somebody has had it apart, although it still has the original solenoid on there, it looks like, for the starter, so you never know. So, getting into it, like I said, the engine has no governor in it. I messed with it. I tried to get the governor to work and to see if it was stuck. And the governor did not end up being stuck. I think we have no governor. Somebody probably pulled it out. Not exactly sure what their intentions were. I also noticed the, what's it called? The dipstick on here had leaked before, which we fixed. I think I actually fixed that on camera. I might have fixed that off camera. Again, I can't remember. I've done so much stuff to this thing, I don't even remember. I don't even remember most of it, or what was done, or what's on and off camera. So, let's go on ahead and let's get into the engine. I'm going to put you guys in the stand. Let's go on ahead and dive into this thing. Let's get it pulled apart, and let's just see what happened. The clutch on here does not work. That is something we are going to have to see if we can fix. So yeah, let's get it took care of. One thing that I want to do is I want to see if we can get this clutch to engage and disengage. It does not seem to work. I have pushed on it before with the clutch pedal, and I could never get it to engage. So I want to see here it is. I want to see if we can get this clutch to engage. And of course the hammer I want is over here. Up on the wall. You know, the unfortunate thing is I just put new oil in this engine. So we're going to have to drain all that oil back out. What I'm doing, that hurt, is I'm hitting on this because there's a clutch inside of here that engages if you push on it. And what that clutch does is it separates the drive shaft from the engine, so that you can, spin the engine without having the transmission engaged, which it doesn't seem like it's going to work. That, and it pretty much has to come off anyway. That way you can get this out of there. Maybe I can get this to come apart without having to mess with it, but we probably won't get that lucky. So I guess we'll just find out, won't we? We've had some fairly nice weather today. It started off at 30, and it went from 30 to, I think, last time I checked, it was 60. It might have been 70. But this morning it started off at 30. Or no, that was last night. The other day it was 30, and the whole day it went up. And then this morning it was 55, and then it went up to 60, and I think we even got up to 70. I had the building open all day. It was fairly nice, I will tell you that. It feels nice to finally get some warm air. I'm tired of this cold air. I'm tired of winter. I hate everything about it. And that ain't no joke. Let's see if we can get... I have no idea where that fell, and I don't think that's what I was looking for. Let's see if we can get... See how that moved? Yeah, see how that's moving? That's that clutch I was telling you guys about disengaging. It's stuck, so we've got a... Oh, that's for the heads. That's from me pushing into it. See how the heads are stamped into that piece? That's funny. That's from me trying to engage the clutch. Huh. That's funny. Might be from somebody else. It might be from me. I pushed on it fairly hard. So now we just go around it and we take these out. I need to find a tray or something I can set this stuff in. That's got whatever. Could use, nah. Hopefully this should separate. I don't know if it will or not. Being as it is currently stuck together. Yeah, see how that came off? Let's see if we can get this to separate. There we go. That looks alright. That don't look too bad. And there goes the spring. Yeah, that's one of the clutch springs. Yeah, see that right there is your clutch. That should have come out of here. Actually, is this your disc? How does this work? I think that might be your disc. I'm not sure entirely. This is your something in here. I'm not sure. I think that's your, no, that's not. Yeah, that's your clutch right there. I thought so. All right, yeah, we'll have to separate that. Let's get in here. I think these are 9/16. Nope, they're halves. All right. Hopefully once we get these to come out, we can get this flywheel off. This isn't out on here by the nut, is it? Or the bolt that holds the flywheel on? I don't think it is. It should be. There it goes. It wants to. Come on. There it goes. Look at that. Nut. Well, that looks brand new. Unless that might be the factory one. Looks fairly clean. Looks fairly clean to be original, but I guess that might be the original one. Let's get these. We may not even need to take, well, I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to go to take those off there, and they're just going to strip out on me. I know that for a fact. Especially if they've never been removed before. However, we can give them a shot anyway and just see. Let's see if I'm going to grab them. No, that's not even going to grab them. I need a screwdriver that will grab onto those. Let's see if we can get this out here. Okay, the last one I had was too big. This one's, it grabs. It wants to. I don't really have a... Maybe we can get this one to work. Not gonna work. Maybe. No. We could get. Actually, that'll go around. We don't even need to take this off. Skip it. Don't even worry about it. Let's get the shroud off of here. We can't really tip it on its side at the moment because there is still oil in that engine at the moment, so we're just going to be gentle with it right now for the most part. We're just taking the front cover off right now. Get to this. Hang on guys, I gotta go turn that light back on. I don't know why it does that. Okay, it just turned back on by itself. Interesting. Oh well. Let's get this mouse nest. In order to get, I knew there was a nest in there. In order to get this shroud off. So I guess somebody at some point must have over tightened it or something. The nut, we started to get it off before inconveniently. The camera quit recording. Someone tried calling me. So it just cut off and stopped recording. And I was taking this off with the impact. Yeah. Wonderful. So we're going to have to address that, and we're going to have to see if we can do something about it. I've got a lathe, so it really shouldn't be that much of a problem for me to get that took care of. It is kind of unfortunate, though, that had to happen. So what we're going to do now is we need to get the oil drained out of this because the oil in it is, I can't really say it's no good, but it's, I can imagine it needs changed. Well, I actually just put brand new oil in it, and the oil that's in it, it looks pretty rough. I guess whatever used to be in there must have mixed into it. So we're going to get the oil drained out of it. But yeah, that sucks. I had that same problem happen on that 312 I have, taking the flywheel nut off, and the flywheel ended up breaking, or the thing ended up breaking. So the flywheel is still on there and it still works. There's more threads left on there than there is on this. There is no threads left. There's 2 threads left on this. I wonder if we can get it to thread back on. You won't be able to use a washer. Yeah, there's almost no point in putting that back. So that's kind of where we're at for now. Let's go on ahead and get this. Oh no. Come on, you gotta be shitting me. Where the fuck is a hammer around here? We could probably. There it goes. I was gonna say we could probably just leave it on here if we wanted to. That stator looks okay. It doesn't really look problematic to me. So we'll get this. We'll get this crank took care of, I guess. It shouldn't be that hard of a fix. Okay, what the hell? I guess this went in. It went into the thing. Oh well, you know, we don't even need to take the stator off. Maybe I can find a better screwdriver while I'm thinking about it. Yeah. Oh well, I don't know where the camera cut out on me. We'll have to find out, I guess. That's one of the reasons I really don't like using a cell phone to record videos on. And conveniently, it was somebody who I don't want to talk to, so no waste of time. Usually the camera will start back up as soon as they're done calling, but for whatever reason it didn't. I didn't even hear it vibrating either until, well, I looked at it after I walked away. What was I doing? I walked over there, I went over there to grab something, then I came back and I had seen the camera had stopped, so there you go. But yeah. Oops. Oh well. Let's see if we can get this stator out. It shouldn't be too hard to get it the rest of the way out. Yeah, there's cobwebs under here and all sorts of other shit. So apparently out, I think it's out west, there is a snowstorm going on right now. Hopefully it doesn't end up coming here. One of the YouTube channels I watch, what was your name? If I could think about it. He has a really nice 74 140. I've been watching him now for a while. What's your name? Who is he? He was one of the channels I watched before I got my 140, which made me decide, you know, I want a 140. Who were you? MMRB, that's who you were. I was watching a video he uploaded today on a snowstorm that they're getting over there. I think he lives in North Dakota. I might be wrong. And I was looking at it and I was thinking, wow, I hope we don't end up getting that storm. So I went on there and I looked because he said it was heading towards Ohio. I went on there and looked, and the storm is in Michigan. It missed us. And I was watching the video that he uploaded. He got 15, oh, suck it. He got 5 or 6 foot of snow. He had a snowbank in front of his garage that was about 5 or 6 feet tall. And I was sitting there watching the video he recorded. He has more or less a utility tractor that he was using to clear snow. But I was watching that thinking, man, that's quite the storm. And I think that tractor he was using has, I think it's got a 3-cylinder Yanmar. I can't think of the horsepower of it. It's one of the newer diesel ones. I think it's an X series. But I was watching it and just could not believe the, you know, how it was doing handling that snow. It actually didn't do too bad blowing the snow. There was some of it he blew with the blower and some of it he bucketed with the bucket. One of the things I thought was kind of interesting about that tractor is he has a snowblower mounted to the back of it and a bucket mounted to the front. One, which, you know, everybody has their own preferences. I would, if it was me and I had that tractor, I would like to have the snowblower in front of me, you know, because it's hard to look back out the back window behind you. And, I don't know, it kind of hurts your neck looking behind you, you know, for so long. Now, if the seat in there swiveled, which I don't think it does, then it would be a little bit better. But then all your controls are backwards, you know. That's the only thing. This is already broken up here, so but yeah, I was really impressed with how that tractor did that he was using. I can't remember what it was. I just know it was something new. But yeah, he did he's got a 140, since we're on the topic of 140s. He's got a 140. It's a 1974. Really nice tractor. He bought it from, I think he said he bought it from the original owner. It doesn't have an hour meter on it, but I think it has the original paint. I think it had the original paint on it, but again, I'm not sure. I don't think it was repainted. It was fairly nice though. Yeah. This has balance gears in it. We gotta get those balance gears out. Cam looks okay. Yeah, overall. I mean, it doesn't look too bad. It looks fairly good inside. It's got balance gears, so we definitely need to get those out. Let me get the gas drained. How does this? Got a little bit of back and forth. Got a little bit of end play, but I mean, that's nothing. It's got, nice. Looks to have one spacer, 2 spacers, and no gasket. What says that? No, just 2 spacers. Huh. All right. Just 2 spacers and no gasket. I'll probably put 2 spacers and a gasket in there. Just kind of looking at it right now, just seeing, you know, how everything on here looks. I mean, it doesn't look too bad. Just like I said, you know, the only problem with this engine is the governor. What were we talking about before? I lost what I was talking about, and then ended up talking about 7 different things. There we go. We started on 140s, and then snow blowing. That's what we were talking about. But yeah, he got about 5 foot of snow, like I said, which quite a bit. I think he lives out there in North Dakota. Again, I'm not exactly sure. But I think if I remember right, he's out there in the Dakota. One of the Dakotas, North Dakota or South Dakota. So I am going to take, I want to have something, oh, we got a stool. Let's use it. I want to have something underneath of this engine just in case something happens and it ends up coming crashing down. I don't plan on leaving it hanging over the edge like that for long. It should be okay. It should have enough of a foot. It's got enough weight on the back of it. Hopefully it shouldn't go. And actually, probably while I'm in there, since I'm thinking about it, we could change that bearing plate because this one has this. And then we will take care of that crank. I do definitely plan on getting into this and addressing that and fixing it. So I think this has, what does this have? 9/16 maybe? Let's try 1/2 inch. If it's not 1/2 inch, it's 9. Yeah, that's a 9. Again, trying not to knock that off the table. Watch that end up making me lose all my weight that I have in here holding it back, and it makes the front of it heavy, and it ends up falling off this table. That would suck. I think we're spinning it the correct way. I hope we're spinning it. You better be spinning it the correct way. There we go. I don't plan on doing anything special with this oil. I was going to hang on to it, mix it in with the new oil. Not mix it in with the new oil I have. However, I was gonna, you know, put it somewhere and write this is what it came out of and use it in other engines if it was still fairly clean, like what came out of my Cub 105. But that oil doesn't exactly, to me, look all that clean, so I'm probably not going to do what I was going to do with it. I think we have pretty much got all the oil out of it. So that's a waste. What a waste of oil. Let's get this fixed because my little seal came off here. We're using an oil pan of another engine as the holder for this. I think we have pretty much got everything out of it. I normally would just let it drain overnight. However, I don't like where I have this thing sitting. Yeah, pretty much got all of it out. I don't like where I have this engine sitting. So we're just gonna go on ahead and get it took care of now. We're gonna put this back in. We're gonna be taking that oil pan off anyway, you know, so it doesn't really matter. Come on, just get it in. It doesn't really matter if everything's out of it or not. We still gotta get the stuff taken off the back of the engine. Let's go on ahead. Give me a second to dispose of this. I want my stool back. All right, I'm back. What do y'all see? You don't even see what I'm looking at there. Now you see what I want you to see. So let's get the oil pan off of here. I currently have 2 videos sitting on this bench. So, yeah. There it goes. Can I get it to separate without ruining that gasket? Maybe? Then that would be a gasket to save? No, it's not gonna, is it? We might save that gasket. There we go. And then, yeah, behind here. I guess it just depends on, cool. Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess it just depends on where it's holding. So there we go. Inside of our engine. Let's see if we can get this gasket to come off of here. Somebody put, almost looks like somebody put some kind of sealer on it. I don't think it might be. I should have. I think somebody has been in here, and I think they put a gasket sealer on it. Hard to tell. Trying my best to save it, because I actually need a couple of these, and if I can get, perfect. If I can get a third one, then I would more than happily do that. Yeah, this engine doesn't look too bad. I'm probably just going to go on ahead and get a rebuild kit for it. I noticed it has the original starter on it, which is kind of neat. Let's get this. We got to get the PTO off, which hopefully should be fairly easy. Let's get the points taken off, because right now I think that's all that's holding us up. Man, all the screws in this, there we go. All the screws in this engine are just stuck, aren't they? That one is coming out. One thing that I do whether I'm, well, I guess depending on what I'm doing, is I tend to go through with a tap, and I'll tap all the bolt holes, all the threads, find the correct thread pitch, and just go through and, you know, do all the threads to make sure that all the bolts and everything go in nice. This should be it is. It has a little quarter right there. Is this a 1/2 inch? Yeah, it is. I guess I could have done a better job at getting everything off of this table before I started. Now, shouldn't I? Usually I like to make sure that my tables are cleared off. However, here I get a little bit impatient. Let's see, can we? Oh, so it'll fit. You'll see. No, 7/16 there's the fit. Maybe here soon we'll have that engine out of here and back into the tractor it's supposed to be in. I'm sure y'all can probably figure out what it came out of, and that'll get this table cleared off. There we go. I gotta find a spot to put all this stuff. I'm not really worried about that cover coming off. I think right now I want to. That's another thing. We should go on ahead and get this off of here, because these mufflers are not cheap, especially these 140 ones. They're fairly, I've heard they're fairly rare. I'm not sure how true that is or not. However, I do know they're hard to find, especially for a decent price. And I just happen to know somebody who is an absolute scam and will scam you for every dollar you have. Well, let's see if we can get some cool. Oh, I just shook that. All right, well. There it goes. Well, that's not good. Sounds like there's something inside of that, but oh well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Should be 4 things holding this PTO pulley on. That's a 5/16, if I remember right. I was just about to say we can just go on ahead and check the governor now that I think about it. However, we're already into it this far, and our thing is broken, so we can't really, there's not really much we can do. We kind of have to take it apart at this point. I've had one other one break from getting the nut loose, but the last time that happened, I used a ratchet. And I guess the thing was already a little bit corroded, which that crank looked fine, so I don't understand why it happened, unless, I wonder if something happened and that flywheel got jerked back and it caused that to do that. That's definitely interesting, however. There's a ring in there you can use to separate the PTO. However, I can't really get to it. If it was a snap ring, or if it was one of those snap rings, I could get at it, but I can't get at it because I'm not sure what this, oh, it's just a ring that doesn't have any holes or any real way of getting it out of there. You just pry on it with a screwdriver. So we're just gonna take this off, make our lives easier. But yeah, so far everything, you know, about this engine seems okay. And by the way, that clutch comes apart more than it did the one that bolted to the flywheel. But I wonder if something happened to the flywheel and it caused it to jolt, and that's what caused the crankshaft to break like that. That's interesting. Huh. Leave your ideas down below, I guess. Like I said, I've had that happen one other time. Or maybe it was just a defective crankshaft. Let's see if we can get this stupid ring out of here. There it is. I don't think we can. No, that's not gonna come out. It's just a flat ring. There's no holes in it to grab with a pair of snap ring pliers or anything. I'll show you guys once I get this PTO to come off here. But I can imagine if we had something to do that with, you know, it would probably be fairly simple to get that out of there. Let's just try to get these, for the most part, loose. It would be awesome if we could pull the PTO back some. Are either of them holes threaded? We might just have to get these nuts out. I was kind of hoping that we could pry on the block and it would get this to go, but unfortunately not. Let me bring you guys back. Hey guys, how's it going? Hey, previously on the channel we were working on a 1971 John Deere 140H1. In the previous video, we were working on the engine. We were getting it pulled apart. The end of the crankshaft ended up breaking off where the nut threads onto the threads. I ended up taking this and smoothing it out some with an angle grinder, and I got it pretty well good and smooth. There's a little bit of a dip down in here, however I think that should be okay. For the most part it's fairly smooth. Not exactly sure why it ended up doing that. I have a suspicion that somebody tried fixing it in the past. I guess it must have worked, although the nut didn't seem like it was very tight. I don't even know if they tightened it. I guess they just stuck it on there. Somebody was obviously in that engine in the past, so I'm kind of wondering if that's the case. So what we're going to do today is we are going to, I got a drill bit. I got the correct drill bit we need in order to drill this crankshaft out. And after we drill the crankshaft out, we are going to tap it. We need to see, we probably want to be right there. That's about center, which is good. So we'll just go on ahead and shove into it. That way we know where center is. Let's go on ahead and let's start up the lathe. And after we start up the lathe, we should be ready to drill. Wrong way. Oops. Just going into it nice and easy. You don't want to go too fast for the machine. Back out of it, and then go back in. I think we might want to go in a little further. I would venture to say we are in far enough, for the most part. So there we go. I think we are into, how far do we go in? Right there. Yeah, I would definitely say we're into it far enough. Let's bring this back. We could probably go on ahead and tap it. No, I'm not using the lathe. We could probably go on ahead and tap it, just throw a drill bit in there. Just grab a bit and go on ahead and tap it out. One thing that I should have done that I just now realized is I should have sprayed some tap fluid in there. This is Tap Magic. This helps with keeping drill bits cool, as well as lubricating things. That actually doesn't look like it's quite in the center. It should be though. Let's easily. We could do it with the lathe, but I don't really like that idea. As long as we're careful, you know. Back out of it. Go back in. I may end up having to throw a bigger drill bit on there. This is a 9/16. Is the 9/16 bolt is what I'm trying to get. So we're just trying to okay, threads. Okay. It's going fairly smooth. I was gonna say I almost wonder if the bit I ran through it was too small. But it seems like it's running it okay. This is coarse thread, not fine thread. They say to run fine thread through, especially if you're going to be doing it on a crankshaft. However, I think we'll be okay running coarse thread. We'll just run that in there as far as we can. And then once it stops, we'll back it out. But yeah, a lathe is definitely a tool that you want to have, you know, if you're going to be working on small engines like this. Definitely handy. I need a pair of those over here. I thought I had one, but apparently not. It's windy out, and I'm sure you can hear the door. It's right behind the camera, actually. Well, not really right behind the camera. It's about 20 or 30 feet back. So there we go. That is done. We could have run it with the lathe, but I wouldn't be able to stop it quick enough. You know, if something went wrong, so it's not really worth, you know, messing it up. But there we go. It's not exactly in the center, but I mean, it's close enough to the center. We'll just go with it. It might even just be my eyes, you know, the way I'm looking at it. Let's see if we can find. Come on. Hell, even if you're not, you know, running a lathe to cut out things, you know, they're good for throwing crankshaffts in and, you know, polishing them up. That's another good thing about lathes. Definitely something I'm glad I kept. I'm glad I bought. I actually bought this machine from my dad's estate. For those of you that have been around the channel for a while, you've probably heard me talk about that continuously. I lost my dad at a young age, and he ran a machine shop, and this used to be the building that he ran out of. So when he passed away, there was a manual mill out here too that I wanted, but unfortunately it ended up selling. So I ended up buying this. It looks like fine grit. I ended up buying this lathe the second I got the chance. That way I knew I had it. I haven't used it nearly as much, as much as I thought I would, but for the times I've used it, it's definitely come in fairly handy. No, that's the wrong thread. I thought so. I'm not even going to try running a tap through it because I can't find the correct tap. But there we go. That's nice and polished. That crankshaft looks good. So I'm going to go on ahead and pull it out, and we're going to take it back into the other room. And I guess we can go on ahead and start getting into that block. Getting back into this 140 engine. I already stuck the one bearing back in, the one that goes back here in the back. I went ahead and just stuck it in the block. Figured might as well just get that done off camera. Not really, it didn't really entail much. You just grab a thing with a hammer, or you just grab a mallet and a piece that's big enough to go all the way around the bearing, and you just knock it in. It's not hard to do. It'll usually seat fairly easy, and if they don't, there's usually a reason why. Let's flip this around. So this is facing up right here. This is where your, up here is where your governor mounts. You can see right there is the screw that holds it in, and up here is where the cross shaft mounts. Let's grab our governor. I did take the governor in the house and I cleaned it out in the ultrasonic cleaner. Yes, the ultrasonic cleaner is finally working again. And as you can see, they move fairly nice. So with that being said, this should work again. We shouldn't have a problem with it for now, at least. I don't think we'll have a problem with it anytime in the future. Up in here, there is a little thing that hangs out. You want to put the governor in like that. I don't know how you guys can see that, but there's a little nub that sticks out up here. You just got to find it. You just got to feel for it. There it goes. I just found it. It's not that hard to find. It pokes out. You just set the governor on it. Turn it. Make sure the governor turns. If it turns good, then you're good to go. And then we'll just run the screw in through here, and that will hold the governor in. I haven't exactly finished cleaning up all my screws yet. That's what I was doing. And then I decided I'd just go on ahead and get into this and finish it off. So let me get this taken up front and cleaned real fast. And after I do that, I'll bring you guys back. Took this up front and I cleaned it. You do want to make sure that everything you introduce in this engine is clean. You don't want to have any dirt, metal dust especially, in the engine when you go to put it back together. So just, go through, make sure everything is clean. And then we'll take this, we'll run it in. That'll hold the governor in. You do want to have that tight. I just want to make sure that it's working, which it does seem it is. Actually, it almost seems like it's up just a little too high, because it did try to come off. Yeah, but that's how it is. There's not really anything I can do about that, because that's how they are from the factory. But it looks good up there. I don't really see a problem. All it has to do is just keep it from coming out. That's really it. And the cross shaft that goes in here should hold it in. Let's get this in here and tight. You do, like I said, want this to be tight. I know I mentioned before it was loose. You definitely don't want that coming out of your block, because then governor could let go and it could go flying and cause damage. There it is. There's the one that I was looking for. Let's get this in. There we go. So now we can get the cam. Yeah, I guess we could put the cam back in now. We gotta put the governor shaft back in. I know I said that I was gonna swap out that governor shaft. I think I'm just gonna leave it alone. I don't really think there's a reason to swap it out, so we'll just leave it alone. We'll have to keep an eye on it though. But however, I will make a note that it does that. But it hasn't tried to, yeah, it's not trying to, you know, come out, so we might be okay. It's not it does have a rivet in there. The rivet is what holds it, for those of you wondering. I don't like the fact that it moves. I should change that. Although, if it goes, can we get it to pull off? No. So it won't pull out. It is holding it. Yeah, it is holding it in. It's not going to let go. That rivet looks to still be good. It's just, it's got a little bit of play in it, I guess. We'll leave it alone. However, I will make a note of that, and if something ends up going wrong with the governor, then for one, it won't surprise me, and for two, we'll take care of it when that happens. I don't know how long I'm going to have this tractor. I don't know if it's going to be one that sticks around or not. I may end up selling it. I guess we'll see. I think it goes in like that, and then this sticks out. Yeah, that side sticks out. This side goes into the block over here. Let's get this put in. Come on. You gotta see with your hands. Sometimes that's difficult. Well, it's not, I shouldn't say it's difficult. It's not hard. Sometimes you just gotta feel around, you know, with your hands. There we go, I see it. Because in a situation like this, you really can't see in there all that great. There we go, right there. There we go, we just gotta poke it out. Yes. And then we want to, oh, I can't see out the side. I thought I could see it pop through, but I can't. That's in. Yeah, it feels like it's in. And then there's a little washer on this that will hold it in place and will not let it come out. I'm going to take this and I'm going to clean it up with the wire wheel. However, I just want to try to get as much as I can. Actually, we may not even need to take it up. I feel like there was a washer behind this, but there might not have been. But this holds the governor shaft in right here. Let me take this up front and clean it real fast, and we'll be back. Took this piece up front and I wire wheeled it. It looks a lot better now than it did before, so hopefully it should. Maybe it will work better. Maybe not. Do I want to run a Q-tip through it to kind of polish it up? Yeah, do that. When you're running a shop like this, sometimes Q-tips are nice to have. They're good for quite a bit of stuff out here. Not only for cleaning carbs, you know, cleaning the needle valve out, but also for doing stuff like this. we go. I actually should run this through here. I should have run it through there too, but oh well. Let's stick to this one. So there we go. That's on. That's in like it should be. Let me just verify that I got it in there right. The way that goes, I think I showed it on camera actually before, so you guys should know how it goes. But the tab points down towards the shaft on the governor, the one that comes out, and it pushes it. So that's how it's supposed to be. Let me just verify. Oh yeah, we have it in there right. Cool. Maybe I'll show you guys here quick how, yeah. Actually, let's just show you guys how it looks in there. That way you know. That's how it's supposed to look up there for those of you wondering. Hopefully you guys can see. And there you go. So now we can continue. Let's go on ahead and let's get the engine. Actually, on second thought, we don't need to. We can just put it together like this. Usually there are two, what are they called? Cam spacers. I only ended up finding one in this engine. But usually there are supposed to be two cam spacers. Oh shit, I found these the other day when I pulled that governor out. I have a feeling that those are supposed to go under that governor. Yeah, you might be right. What would those have done? I am not exactly sure. I know they came out of this engine. I don't know where they went. I've never seen governor spacer before. It's definitely interesting. We might have to look into that. But this only had one shim in it for the cam. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna have to look for another cam spacer, or if I'm just gonna go on ahead and put it back. Actually, I should take that. Yeah, maybe I should take that governor back out and put them. I know someone's saying I should pull that back apart. Yeah, let's just pull it back apart. Let me go on ahead and do that real fast, then I'll bring you guys back. Oops. Oh well, what do you expect? So I got that governor put back in after I realized my oops. Let's go on ahead and put the cam back in. I'm gonna stick that cam spacer down on the bottom. This is the way the cam goes in, especially if you're putting it together this way. I think that, actually, now that I think about it, the cam wants to go in on the other side because you push it out this way. Because that's true. I forgot about that. Oh well, I guess it happens to everybody, you know. Only human. And only a true, true and honest man will show his fuck ups. Especially since they're on camera. And yeah, I fucked up. This is our intake. Tap it. Therefore, he will go on the intake side. This be our exhaust tap it. Therefore, he will go on the exhaust side. I never pulled the valves out of the block. I don't really think there's a reason to pull the valves. There might be a reason, but I'm not thinking of. But we'll just go on ahead and put the tappets back in. I guess it doesn't really matter if you mark them or not. They're both the exact same pretty much. Just if you put the wrong tappet in the wrong spot, you know, your clearance will be off for the valves, but that's pretty much it. Let's go in here. Let's put this in. Sometimes these cams tend to be an absolute pain in the ass to get in. There we go. Second spacer is still right there. We want it to be like so. All right. So now that we've done that, and for those of you wondering, I will oil this before I stick it in. That could have been taken wrong. I will oil this before I put it in. That's what she said. Oh, yeah. For my younger audience, you didn't witness anything wrong. Let's get this. Sorry, guys. It was funny at the time, but it's not really funny anymore, and I understand that. Let's go on ahead and get this put in. It runs in from this side over here. I'm not really sure. I don't really think it matters. It's not tapered, is it? Hard to say. Hard to say looking at it. One in the other room, and I grabbed my oil can. This has 10W30 in it. We're just going to take it and give this a nice light coat. I said, there we go. Light coat. We'll just get that nice and oiled up. That way it's not going in dry. It will be oiled by the engine here later on, so I'm not that horribly worried about it, you know. However, I do want to make sure that the first run it gets some lubrication, so we'll just yeah, that slid in fairly nice. So let's get make sure that the, what's it called, is in its correct spot, which it does appear to be. And if you have to, you can just take this and flip it around like so, so you can look in here and, you know, monitor things. Right now I'm looking at the cam spacer. I need to angle it down a little bit because it is currently in the way. So we'll just kick it to the side some, which now it looks like it is. Just do it light. You know, you don't want to damage things. And once you get it in, like so, we should very carefully and you want this to be flush, by the way, with that. And there we go. Let's just give it one more. I know I said it should be flush, which it should be flush, and I shouldn't give it one more hit. Yeah, well, let's just keep it flush. Let's not give it one more hit. And then, but yeah, you can see it's all the way through because I can see it poking out this side. So there you go. Cam should turn, which it does. That valve opens, that valve closes. That valve opens, that valve closes. Awesome. So while we are in here, let's check our adjustments for the valves. And after we do that, we can go ahead, trying to keep the block as clean as I possibly can. Let me grab my feeler gauges, I think. 8 and 18 is what you want. The intake wants to be 8. The exhaust wants to be 18. Well, the clearance is 16 through 18 is your exhaust clearance. Your intake is, I think, 7, 8, and 9. So you want it to be 8. I usually do 8 and 18 because 8 and 18 is, they're fairly close to each other, I guess you could say. It just sounds, it's easier for me to remember 8 and 18. However, you do want an 8 and 17, but you can do 8 and 18 too. And if it's in that range of 8 or 7 through 9, you're fine. Same with 8 through or 7 through 9, you're fine for the intake. 16 through, I think 19 for the exhaust, you're fine. So 8 slides through. I might want to put a little more tension on that, but that feels fine. It doesn't really exactly have a lot of hold on it, a lot of pressure. I bet you 9 would probably be a noticeable difference on that. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's 9 even slides through easily. Let's check our exhaust real fast. And that will determine if I want to go on ahead and just adjust them. I am going to do 18 because, like I said earlier, 18 is easier to remember. You want to make sure this is not pushing on either valve, by the way. 18 is fairly stiff, but it does go through. This is 18, right? Yes. I actually almost just want to say that's a little bit too tight. So we will, I guess we'll adjust them. 1/2 inch and a 7/16 wrench. And usually you want a thinner wrench for the bottom adjustment. I have sanded this one down so it makes it easier to get the top wrench in here like so. You don't want to go very far with your adjustment. Just a slight little bit will improve it a lot. Let's just go like that. That probably might have even been a little too much. And I think I said for the exhaust, I wanted to loosen it a little. Yeah, I want to loosen that up. So we'll just take it and we'll bring it back a little. That's probably even too much right there. Let's find out. Oh yeah. That's perfect, actually. I'm gonna leave that alone. The exhaust is perfect. So now we can get the intake took care of and situated. Let's check 8. I might have over tightened it, like I said, but we'll find out here in a second. Where's our tappet? Yeah, I can't even get. Yeah, I think we over tightened it a little bit. I can't even get the feeler gauge in there. Let's get on that. Let's back it off. That's probably too much right there. These are fairly stiff when you go to turn them. So just keep that in mind. Actually, that looks... The exhaust is open. Why does the intake look like it's open a little bit? Interesting. I don't see any light. So it's sealing. Well, all right. That's weird. So that means our intake valve is sealing. So, interesting. Yeah, that one slides through now fairly easy. Let's back it off. I feel like we're in the same position as we were earlier. Let me get this to where it needs to be. Let's get this just, there we go, right there. That might even be too much. Let's go just a little bit more in, just that much. Even that was probably too much. That is actually just about right. I like that. So there we go. The valves are now in adjustment. I would almost say we can go on ahead and put the crank in. Just make sure both valves open at this point, which they do. Decompression appears to work. Or at least I thought it did. So there we go. And again, like I said, everything, they look like it looks like they're seating fine. Let me just check the, however, that intake valve looks a little bit funny to me. Exhaust is closed, intake. Actually, the intake, I don't see anything. Now it actually looks a little bit better, seeing as we messed with it some. So yeah, awesome. So I will bring you guys back. I don't have all the gaskets at the moment. I figured I'd just go on ahead and start getting it pieced back together as much as I can. And I think we have pretty much put everything back together to the point that we should be good to go for now. So yeah. So, a little bit of a change in plans. I wasn't going to end the video here, but however, the video has ended up being an hour long. So I thought, well, it's time to just go on ahead and end it. We'll make an alternate ending. So this is going to be an alternate ending to the video that you guys just watched on this 140. I'm not going to go into any detail on anything that I have done or has happened to it. However, you guys can see that we got it put back together. So there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will catch all of you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye.